to move on to a couple of other little bits that Retro have made. Again, really nicely machined down, very nice. It's for the selector arm that screws into the selector arm. Well, it screws into the side of the gearbox, which then holds your selector arm to the gun. It's very nicely made, really nice. You can just see the milling that's gone into that. It's really nice. Screws into the gearbox, absolutely beautifully, really nice. That's as far down as it goes. Now, that's great. Right up until you try and use it on the standard, what they call a nut, what you use on the standard nut. This is the bit that fits onto the back of the selector arm on the AK and attaches it or goes to the side of the gearbox, and a screw goes through it. Right up until the Retro one doesn't fit. Brilliant. I could easily modify that. Right up until the point where you look at it and it's like, there's not much material left on that, which means it'll easily break. So that's out the window. It'll probably work on their AK selector arms, and it probably will. In fact, more than likely, well, high chance it will. I don't have one of those. We'll move on to the other bit. This is the RetroArms selector nut again. This is the nice one. So, again, really nicely made, really nice. Nice and red, anodized. Ooh, like anodized shiny stuff. It's brilliant. And then you compare them side by side. Really? Really? It's 3mm too big, so it sits too high. And ironically, you don't even need this bit for the RetroArms selector. Don't even need it. It's already attached. So what good's that to anybody? What good's that? Really? It's too damn big. Good thing, the nut slides through it. Sits really nicely. Which also means that that nut is too big. Or that screw is too big. That piece there is far too big for any normal AK. It gets better. This is just a standard Keimer selector arm. It's exactly the same as about 90% of the AKs that are out there. Right down to the shape of that hole. You've got a flat there and a curve there. This matches. It's got a flat and a curve on it, and it fits in nice and snug. And then you screw that down onto that. So what was Retro thinking when they put two flats on it? And even the other side, two flats. It doesn't fit, so I'd have to modify this or this. Well, I can't really modify there, because as you'd see, there's not much to play with in material around that area. So I'd have to modify this. If you get that wrong, you completely screw up your arm. Ridiculous. So that bit didn't fit. That was a waste of money and a waste of time. And it's not even good as a paperweight either, because it weighs nothing. So that won't be going in. Trigger. This fits the RetroArms gearbox absolutely beautifully. Now, I haven't actually tried it in a separate shell. Stand by for that, because I do have a new shell on the way, and hopefully it will fit. If it doesn't, it might be a little tight around there. That's no biggie. That's a sort of modification I don't mind, because all it is just a quick file, and you just file it through, or you even expand a hole in the gearbox shell if you don't mind the fact that you'll never be able to use a normal trigger again. That bit's fine, so we'll go past that. My big issue with this is it's really nice, maybe slightly the wrong angle, but it does look pimp, it does look nice. Who thought of machining the end and then not smoothing it off? Really, who thought about that? All the edges are really sharp on it. I mean, you can actually cut yourself on this thing, and I have done a couple of times already. And especially around there. I put a hole in my index finger because of the sharp points on the end of the trigger there. And when you're holding it, and you pull it, your finger slides down, and you end up with this thing getting stuck in in your finger. It's unreal. It's really sharp. So obviously that's not been thought about. And I'd really like to hope that Retro can really pull their fingers out their arses and maybe refinish these triggers, because they are actually really nice. I do like them. However, like I say, I don't know if this is going to work in another gearbox. We can only give it a go though, which is what we'll do. So that's my overall outcome and overall thoughts about RetroArms. If you live in the UK, don't bother with them, frankly, because you'll get no support from them, from what I've seen so far, and they won't answer your questions, and when they do, they'll probably answer them wrong anyway. So far, it's just an overpriced paperweight on this front. This I can actually use as a paperweight because it's got a little bit of weight to it. So I just might I'm just going to strip it down, rip all the parts out of it, put them into a new gearbox, and clean this one out and probably sell it and take a big loss on it. Because frankly, I just don't want to see this thing in my house again. That is how unimpressed about it I am. Really, it fucked me off. So there we go. End of a real honest review. If you don't like it, if you don't like my review, fuck off. I don't care. I don't care if you don't like my review. Why? Because it's my review and it's my experience of this. My personal experience. And frankly, if they can't get this one right, what chances do we have with others? And for all you fanboys out there, cheers for all your assistance of, well, just drill fucking massive holes in it. That was really not helpful at all. Really, it wasn't. So, and they were fanboys, massively. But yeah, we'll leave it at that, shall we? Leave you to digest and ignore or take it on board. I'm not bothered. It's up to you. I'm just putting this out there so you know what you're getting into with a version 3 gearbox shell from RetroArms. It will not fit the King Arms version I've got, and it will not fit the old style TM clone Keimers, which also means it won't fit a TM. Very much doubt it, considering the Keimers are clone. But anyway, ta-ta.